At the time of writing this, the biggest thing we have to look forward to this season is last season's Scottish Cup final. What a pitiful state of affairs this is. The weekend's game should be a celebration of our successes, instead it's a bookend to a glorious era. The directors who sat there today on video defended their performances with a mixture of emotional appeals and preening over successes some of them could not have done more to hamper had they poured gasoline on the floor of the dressing room. Lawwell's big boast was that the club was not asleep at the wheel and he proved it by pointing out how much money they had spent. The figure £35 million was thrown around. It is the first time I have ever seen directors of a major company openly boast about squandering vast sums on shocking underperformance. But they convinced a handful that they are still doing a good job, and that was all they wanted to do today, with the whole AGM being a pitiful sham. I can point to grand sweeping failures by this club in the past 10 years, and I will in a later article which will serve as an indictment of that self-congratulatory nonsense we heard today. But there really ought not to be the slightest question about the current season and the complete failure it has been up until now. That speaks loudly and clearly and for itself. Instead of getting the best person they could as manager after Rodgers left, and letting that person work with a few good signings on top of the current squad, they opted to give Neil Lennon more money in the space of 24 months than Rodgers saw in 36, and for what? To take us backwards. Celtic has overspent to cover for flaws in Lennon's approach which ought to have disqualified him from ever getting the job. We have spent money propping up Lennon that could have been spent on getting a proper coaching team and a scouting system that was fit for purpose. We have spent a fortune trying to elevate Lennon above his abilities, and yet, here we still are. This is not just a consequence of the manager not being up to snuff, this is worse than that. The people who chose him did so for all the wrong reasons, and they did so knowing he had serious weaknesses. As a result of that decision, this club is regressing at a rapid, and dangerous rate. A couple of positive results have people in raptures all of a sudden as if a corner has been turned. No corner has been turned. Even if results on the pitch get better, this is a club in decline.